So, we obviously got the amazing news this week we're all excited to chat about, that Chris Bumstead is going to compete in a fucking open show. Yeah. It's pretty insane, actually.
That is insane. I didn't see it coming.
I didn't either.
I think he's doing it more for fun, just to kind of see.
Yeah,
show the fans what's up.
He talked about it in one of his recent YouTube videos where he was just kind of saying exactly that. Like, his diet's not perfect. All these factors aren't perfect. He might be bullshitting. I'm sure he's probably...
He likes to do that.
He's a competitor. I don't think... And he's going to come in to try to lose. I don't think that at all.
I don't know. I've had a lot of opinions on it. I was definitely shook by it, but I think it's just kind of a last hurrah. I mean, he said he came into bodybuilding and open. And I think it's just like, what does he have to lose at this point? Like, really, if he loses, who cares? Yeah. If he wins, then it's just like undeniable.
Right.
That. And I don't know. I really love the move, honestly. I don't know in this past Olympia how he would place. I don't think he can win the Olympia right now in open.
No.
He's not going to beat Samson. He's not going to beat Andrew Jack. He's going to dwarf, Hottie, he's going to dwarf Martin, he's going to dwarf a lot of these guys, but dudes that do compare to him in terms of stature are worlds ahead of him in size. Yeah. So, but there's also, you don't know, there's that superstar factor, that, gosh, are you really going to hand Chris Bumstead an L on stage? Like, that's true. You don't know. But at the same time, I am hype about it just because, when was that he announced that? Yesterday or the day before?
A couple days
ago.
The day that he posted that, that's like the only thing I saw on Instagram. So it's huge for bodybuilding, dude. Yeah. I mean, dude, bodybuilding is alive and well and it's growing, and I'm all for that. So
the biggest question, though, is can he win?
Can he win what?
The Open show.
Prague show?
This Prague show. Is he going to beat Martin, the fourth in the world?
I think he'll beat Martin.
You think he'll beat him?
Yeah.
Conditioning is what I think Martin... If he can come in a little harder, he has to come in hard. If both of their Olympia packages... They might give it to Chris.
One of the things I saw them talking about, though, which is basically in order for what people are used to seeing Chris is this like super drained down, super underfed. For him to make his weight for Classic, he's super underfed. So he's going to be way bigger for sure. But is he still going to have that crispy conditioning that people know him for? And does that even matter? Once again, is he so underfed that it's hurting him? Or is he going to come in like he's? I watched an interview the other day, which is crazy to even hear. He said he's never really even had a pump on the Olympia stage. He's never had enough carbs in his system. He's never had enough food in his system. Even when he pumps up backstage, he's never been able to really fill out the way he does. Yeah, I mean Max knows. Like he said, when you're backstage trying to get a pump, when you're depleted and there's no fucking water in your system and everything's hard, it's hard to get a pump.
That's why, disclaimer, the best way to do it is be ready early so you can carb up days in advance slowly and try to just beat yourself. You don't want to just beat yourself down, walk into your check-in, make your weight, and then go have a burger and fries. You're not going to look very good the next day.
That's the idea that gets in the next day for a show is very, very unlikely.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I don't know. I'm such a fan of Martin's physique. I really am. It's funny. I wasn't before. Like in years past, I wasn't a fan of Martin's physique. But this last year, he was my favorite physique on the Olympia stage. He really was to me.
Good.
He's got a weird, muscular connection between his bicep, front delt, and chest. It's a little odd looking, but he just looks
his back
fantastic.
His back is huge.
It's
huge. Very dense.
Could have a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
I love his quads.
Dude, he had the frame, he had everything there. It was a good shot. That's why I don't know with Chris. Who knows? And then you see Sean Clarita jump in.
Yeah.
Dude, he's gonna be up to Bumstead's knee.
I just showed Derek a picture of them, what they would look like on stage together.
What is it?
It's like rib cage.
I don't know how that'll go. Yeah. Gosh.
Sean Clarita is going to be able to do his front double, and his hands will still be below Chris Bumstead's elbows very clearly.
That's a very real thing, though. That is a very real thing. You can have an amazing physique. Gosh, imagine if Sean Clarita was, proportioned up to Chris's height.
Greatest
who knows which way that would go. Because Sean, it's definitely not his best package, I think, at this past Olympia, but it's still a fucking package like that. And last year, gosh, that dude looked insane. But Keon was undeniable.
I think Keon had the best physique on stage.
In the world.
Who?
Yeah.
Keon?
Yeah.
I agree.
Best in the world right now.
I was actually just about to say that. It's when you watch these guys transition from 212 into the Open or from Classic into the Open, it's very rare that they do phenomenal. Like Brett Wilkins, for example, that's a guy that was doing good in Classic, transferred to the Open. And personally never liked his physique that much since he's been open.
Classic, dude.
Yeah, he went pro. He actually went pro as a physique competitor. He was a physique guy, went pro, went through Classic, made his way all the way up through 212 in the body, like every class he did. And I don't like his physique, but then I see if Keon could get bigger, I mean, he's short as shit, but if he could get bigger, I mean, that's the best physique in the world. Yeah.
Like taller?
No, like, just more size.
You think he needs more size?
To be an open.
Dude, I still think maybe in the legs, but up top you cannot get a ratio, or you could play an MLB baseball game.
His ratios
on
are crazy.
He's fucking a diamond, bro.
Yeah, I wonder what his height compares to Hottie in them.
He's probably a couple inches shorter. He's 5'3".
Fuck, that's really little.
Keon's 5'3".
I believe so. Maybe even shorter. Don't even quote me on that.
That's so little.
It is. People don't realize that in person. Like, if you see these people in person, it's not quite as overwhelming as you would think it'd be because of the height difference.
Yeah, I've had people meet Derek Lunsford that a lot of people we train around used to know Derek Lunsford, not maybe super closely, but he used to compete in Indiana. So a lot of the old bodybuilders back when I was bodybuilding all knew him and they all talked about him. He was a nice guy, but they went and saw him, more recently at like the Arnolds and things like that. And the one thing they said is he's so big on camera. He obviously has such big muscles, but you're actually standing next to him because of the height differential. It just doesn't radiate the same way that Samson does, for example.
Right. That's
fucking
what I was gonna say.
310 pounds on stage, 6 foot tall.
Like seeing that in person, you're just like, holy shit.
People used to talk about that with Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know a lot of guys that used to meet Ronnie Coleman, and they would just be like, it was this holy shit factor.
Yeah.
Like your brain didn't know what to do when you're looking at it. But I don't know. I mean, I've always wished that we could put things into a simulation and see how they would go, because I truly believe that if his body could handle, which it can't, he doesn't handle the drugs well, Chris Bumstead could have been the greatest bodybuilding champion of the Open Olympia ever. Yeah. If he could have put on the 50 pounds. Once again, could he?
It's tough to say. I mean, it should have, could have, would have.
How many guys have we seen ruin their physiques trying to get big, though, too? That happens a lot.
I don't know. Chris, though,
Big Rami.
I feel like he would also... Chris would do a lot better if he gave himself a little bit more time here. I mean, he's jumping right into it, open, let's go.
Well, he's probably already up like 15 pounds.
What he wants to do, obviously, is try and... Did I just unplug my mic?
No, you're good.
No, you're
Sorry
good.
about that. But technical difficulty. But what Chris is trying to do, obviously, is qualify for the Olympia next year, go open, and have this whole year to try and get big. So we'll see what that process looks like this whole year. I mean,
damn. So you think if he wins Prague, there's a potential?
Why the hell would he jump right into this little show?
I thought it was just because he was doing it,
just like a cap off.
I thought it was just a cap off.
It's like a cap off. Like, hey,
I don't know, man. I think
he's sneaky. He's a little sneaky guy.
He's trying to qualify for the Olympia Open next year.
If he does the fucking Open Olympia next year, because one of the things he did say, and this is not to
he could pull McGregor, dude, win the Open and the crosses over at the Olympia.
Dude,
you can't do that.
He literally said on stage at the Olympia, he said, "This won't be the last time you see me on this stage." I mean, everyone thought he was referring to how he was going to come back classic in like 4 or 5 years. But what if that was just him referencing the fact that like next year he's going to come back open?
I don't know.
I don't know.
He's a lot to juggle with a child.
It's tough. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. You just had a kid. We'll see though.
He's working with Hani, and Hani's one of the greatest Open Olympia champion coaches ever. So maybe his health is doing good. Maybe he's capable now. I don't know. It's just exciting to even think about that. That's a possibility.
Maybe now that he has a kid, he isn't as scared fertility-wise about some of the compounds.
Yeah, and his autoimmune disorder, they have it so under wraps because his health wasn't actually super at risk. It was that the drugs and the diet and all the things were giving his autoimmune disorder a lot of distress. So maybe, like, we know autoimmune disorders obviously are just inflammatory diseases. Like, maybe he just has that so under wraps now that he's like, I don't know. I would love to see him pack on like 20 fucking pounds and come in. Once again, like I said, who knows what the physique actually looks like with that? Because, everybody thinks more is better, but we've all seen shit tons of physiques where more is worse.
It depends where you put the mass. I mean, and he's someone with the coach, and like they're going to put the mass where they need it. So, and in a general context, maybe. Yeah. That's one thing that I've thought about is like, hopping on cycle pretty early without understanding programming is that your imbalances are exponentially worse.
Oh my gosh, you see what guys in the gym all the time. They hop on gear and they're so front delt dominant, for example, when they're pressing, their chest is small. You're just going to accentuate that.
You're just speed it up.
You're just going to have more and more of that happening. But I don't know. We're going to have to hop on here again here in a few weeks when Prague happens. Talk about how the show went. Talk about what Chris says, whether he's going for the Olympia or not, I'll be fucking really excited if we find out that he's going to the Olympia. That would be, I don't see it happening personally, but I would love it.
He'll sneak it if he does it.
What do you think he's going to do if he wins the overall at this show?
I think
he'll just be done and be like, hey, I won the Prague. How do you say that? We're damn
Prague.
Prague. Yeah, I won the Prague show.
Yeah.
He ain't going to do that shit. He is going to get in there.
Even if he doesn't plan on it, just him winning the Prague could definitely, if he like wipes everyone out by a clear defeat, he very well might just be like,
I don't think
Martin might be the guy. Martin might soil their plans.
Martin's a freak, man.
Martin might have to soil.
They both pull the vacuums. They both have a nice waist to shoulder ratio.
Martin's got him on the legs and just the X frame.
Martin's legs are some of the best in the entire Olympia.
Martin is a bodybuilder, open. But at the same time, with Chris going to open, I kind of like it too, because like at the lower level, like in the NPC, we see so many big ass dudes that are just like, oh, I'm gonna just do classic. I'm just gonna stick to it. It's like, dude, like, yeah, you could maybe have some more success in those divisions right now, but I feel like the overall goal would be, for most people, frame wise, would just to be sit down, do the work over the course of years and work their way to open bodybuilding.
Yeah.
People are deterred from open bodybuilding because they're like, oh, I can't do it right now.
Right.
Most people can't. Most people can't. It's gonna take some time to get there. I think that ideally you should have the goal to get there, unless it's obvious that your genetics are limited to something more along the lines of men's physique or classic. But I mean, gosh, you see a lot of people that are just crossing over to divisions I don't think they should be in. I think they should just put the work in, and I think Chris might motivate a couple motherfuckers to do that.
You see, even that guy that got second place at the Olympia to Chris, he really does have like a super broad, thick, dense frame. I mean, he's short as hell.
I think he looked a little better than Chris.
But if he,
some shots.
There were some shots for sure. That's an example of a guy that if he put on the right mass, he could definitely go do some open shows. I said he really could.
He threw more classic
quite a bit more
Chris
mass.
hits everything straight on.
More mass.
Quite a bit. Once again, that's those years we're talking about. I mean, most guys that are thinking about bodybuilding are so worried about competing in 6 months at their first regional show.
Yes.
You know, like to them, they're just like, oh, I got to hop on all this gear. I got to do all this crazy stuff. I got to do this regional show that is like the equivalent, with zero offense to it, to like a recreational basketball league.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, there's no, zero offense to it, but it's like the recreational basketball league of this.
The Y League.
So, like, that's awesome. And here's the thing. If you win a recreational basketball league trophy, that's still awesome. Go, like, if that's where you're at, that's great. But to really do something great in this industry, to go to the IFBB, to the pro level, to do anything at the high level of the NPC, you're going to have to spend years and years devoted to it. And a lot of guys don't want to do that.
Big time. A lot of guys don't want to hear that either.
Yeah.
They're like, what? Let's just hop on gear.
Exactly.
Yeah, seriously. Like I said, and once again, I think it's funny how years look backwards. Like, you know, 5 years feels really fast. Like you're at now, you look back, wow, that 5 years went quick. It was fun. I enjoyed it. But when you're at the beginning of that 5 years you're looking at, you're like, 5 years? That's the longest thing ever.
Yeah.
Gets me excited.
It's the years, exactly.
I see it, I'm like, damn.
Because I know motherfuckers ain't going that long. They're tapping out early. They're tapping out
5 years,
early.
I pick up my hammer and my chisel.
Yeah.
I got 5 years of grinding.
Exactly.
How long do you think? What's his name? Who carved the statue of David? Was it Michelangelo?
Michelangelo, I think, yeah.
How long do you think that took his ass?
I don't know. Depends on how hard he was grinding.
Had to have been years. But hey, dude.
I don't know.
That's how I'm going to be.
We might just be very unskilled at that. Maybe he's very fast.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to kind of see what that show goes like, obviously.
Yeah.
We'll circle back to that when it happens.
Beautiful. Well, we will circle back, and we'll be talking about this soon. Like I said, like, subscribe, check in. We're going to have a lot more of these podcasts coming for you soon.